I'm Leroy Garcia, and this is Blue Rain Gallery Podcast. Today we're at the home studio in Hacienda Garcia, and we have with us here today Erin Currier. Welcome, Erin.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to talk to Erin today a little bit about her first skill, and she has a show coming up. It opens up. It's a feature. It's not necessarily an opening, but it's a feature of her works in drawing format. I think ever since Erin was a little person, she was probably started out drawing, and it's the core to painting. Most artists have to develop themselves through drawing. They don't just start painting, and but there's a skill to this type of format. I wanted to first talk about a couple things before we get started, Erin, about the show Sin Ropa. But one time I was having lunch with Erin, and I was talking to her, and we were talking about her work, and she got a napkin, and she drew a face or a little portrait of me, and it took about an hour or so.
Yeah.
About an hour.
Yeah, probably.
And a pretty good skill level there. I was pretty impressed, actually.
Oh, thanks.
The other thing I wanted to talk about before we get started was this is the cover piece to our podcast. This is the original that Erin created about 11 years ago, 10 years ago or so. And it was purchased by one of my major clients. And my wife at the time wanted to bid on it. And I was like, you can't outbid this guy. He will take it. So we just had to be patient. And finally he relented and he sent it back to Blue Rain Gallery. So this is back in our personal collection. What do you like about this, besides my beautiful face?
Well, I think I was able to capture, you're a true visionary, and it has that quality to the expression. And it's very minimal also. It's just comprised of, well, a number of like tiny little sugar packets and pieces of trash from all over the world. But I think I was able to capture you with just all those minimal little scraps.
Mm-hmm.
And little dimensions of your life too. It references like your passion for art, and there's all the ceramics in the background, the pottery.
Pretty cool piece. My wife's happy.
Thanks. I'm honored you guys have it.
Well, let's get down to this. So Erin, if you know anything about her, she travels the world, and her and her partner Tony, who passed away a few years ago, would travel the world, and they would take journals with them, and they would draw. Like the first drawing I showed you, where I'm sitting down just having lunch with Erin, and she's just doodling, and but that creates a skill set. But they created these wonderful journals. So everywhere you go, you record your thoughts or the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was your intention? Is that what that was?
Yeah, well, I've kept sketchbooks since I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
I started drawing before I could speak or walk. I was sketching. My mom has my first drawing. I was 6 months old. And so even, as a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, I'd keep a sketchbook and draw my friends and draw animals in the natural world and ideas. So I've been doing that my whole life, and my whole life is in all those books. All my friends and family, people I meet on my travels.
I've been a little bit of Blue Rain staff every now and then too.
Yeah.
Is this a journal that you brought today?
This is my latest sketchbook. Yeah, it's just here's a self-portrait.
Oh, nice.
Me drawing. But yeah, a friend of mine, a musician, had a performance. It was like a one-man performance. He played stand-up bass and was drumming, and there was film. So I drew that.
And then also when she's drawing, she has notes. What are your notes
There's a
related
road
to?
trip I took.
Nice. In your Toyota.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So all sorts of, I just kind of draw my life.
They're very beautiful. These are
Thanks.
important books for her. That she treasures them. They're not for sale. They're very personal to her.
Yeah.
Very beautiful, though. If you get a chance to see one of these at one of her shows, we usually have a few during openings. Her main opening will be the last Friday of June. Let's talk about Sin Ropa. Sin Ropa will open on Valentine's Day to the public for viewing. We are going to have an opening for Tony DeLuz on that next Friday, so everybody can come down and see Tony's work, but also experience your work. But let's talk about Sin Ropa. Sin Ropa in English means without clothes, so this is based on nudes. Tell us about how you got into this, because we have maybe 50 drawings or more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what inspires you on the nudes.
Well, I was thinking about it, and there are a couple of reasons I love doing. I've been doing a nude figure drawing group regularly for many years now, and I love the camaraderie for one thing. It's this great group of, some of them are professional artists and some had never even drawn before. Mm-hmm. And it's people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. We even had like someone who's 18, and we had someone who lived to be, he just passed away and he was in his 90s.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Wow. So we've had, it's like every age, every skill set, every medium.
Where's this at? Is it
in Santa Fe? It's the Tuesday night figure drawing group, mm-hmm. and it's New Mexico's oldest running figure drawing group.
Oh, nice.
It's Eli Levin started it in the 60s, and it's been continually operating. And there's all these like inside jokes on foreshortening and mm-hmm, stuff like mm-hmm. that. And people use every medium. There's one artist, Greta, who has massive, messy oil stick, kind of abstracted figures, and other people are tiny on graphite, and it's kind of everything goes, and people bring snacks and we play music. It's really fun. So I like the camaraderie, but I also like the practice. I feel like artists, no matter how much they're able to develop their skill or medium or their craft, that we can always practice, and that helps so much. That just continual practice of for me, my work is portrait and representational. It's about the human. It's humanist work. So it makes sense that I just keep training, keep practicing. There's always ways I can improve and develop and progress. And the third reason I love it is that I love humans. I love the human body, the human figure, the humanity, and I find beauty in pretty much every human. And our models too are like every age, every body type, every gender, and they're all beautiful to draw, and for different reasons in different ways.
That's wonderful. You know, if y'all come to a show for a major show of Erin's, you'll see these masterworks, but they all start with the drawing format. And in fact, in most of our shows, we offer the pre-drawings to the masterworks that end up on the wall. And we've been doing this for the last 8 years, especially. So going back to Sin Ropa, when you're in the studio, in the studio environment, there must be live models that you're working with. Do you have live models that show up in this drawing group, or?
Oh yeah, in the drawing group, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a live nude model every week, and everybody just comes and we pay a small fee, and so the model's able to make a decent income. And it's 3 hours, and they do usually like 1 and 2 minute poses, and then 5 or 6 or 7 minute poses, and then 10, 20, and finally at the end there's a half hour or 40 minutes.
Wow, that's hard to pose that long.
Yeah.
Are these professional posers or just people that just love the arts?
They're all professional models. And sometimes if there's a 40 minute, we'll cut it in half. They'll do 20 minutes, take a break, and come back to it.
Oh, nice. Well,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about what's going on in this show. You have a mixture of both female and male nudes in this show. What do you like about drawing nudes?
Well, I mean, like I said, it boils down to my love for humans and the human figure. And the show actually, the idea for it came from a good friend of mine who's a fellow renderer, and she had run the Parsons School of Design, their art education department. And she lives here in Santa Fe, and she is now in her 80s, but still figure drawing herself. And she looks at art regularly, and she volunteers for the arts. She volunteers at Lensic. And she was commenting on how few nudes she sees in Santa Fe, despite there being all these great museums and galleries and venues. And it's true, I thought about that too, like how rare it is you see a nude, but that's been such an important part of art history in like every kind of art, Western, Eastern, Native,
Cross-cultural.
European. Yeah, it's like kind of universal, the nude figure. And she's like, Erin, you should ask Blue Rain, you should ask Leroy if you can show your nudes, because they're really beautiful. And she said, and few people know that you do this, and also there's so few to look at in Santa Fe, and we all love the nude figure. Like we're all human, and so I really appreciate that you were willing to show some of them.
You know, it took me a little bit of time because I'm more on the prudish end, and we do get families that come in to the gallery and you're like, oh. But the human form is so beautiful, like you're expressing, and we really shouldn't be ashamed of it. I think what you've drawn is very, very beautiful. Like I say, there's over 50 of these drawings that will be available. I think the price ranges will be anywhere from $300 to $1,000. We really want to get this work out and make it affordable. So if you want an Erin Currier painting in your collection, this is a good way to get one, huh?
That was another thing I like, that I know a lot of people, myself included, love art, and I can't always afford it, and so hopefully the price range will be more affordable for people.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful, Erin, that you're doing this, and it gives people opportunity, like I say, to have a piece of your work in their homes, in their collections. And it is beautiful. I have a lot of her paintings, a lot of her drawings in my collection, as you can see behind me. I'm probably one of her biggest fans.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I think what we'll do is juxtapose some drawings as we're talking here, so people can see them. But there are, like I say, female nudes. Go over there and show us a nude that you draw. One of your friends. Tell us about that. Hold on one second.
Yeah, so actually my niece modeled for our figure drawing group just last week, and she's 9 months pregnant. She offered to model. She's actually a professional photographer, not normally a model, but she is really excited to be expecting, and she wanted to
Is she in her 9th month, you said?
celebrate her body, and it was exciting for all of us because you don't get to draw a nude pregnant woman very often. So
They're very beautiful.
thanks. Yeah, so these are all just quick sketches I did of Liz.
That's pretty cool. I think a lot of ladies on the first time they have a baby, well, in all of them, because my wife's a photographer and she does a lot of that maternity photography, but it's a good way to preserve a memory.
Yeah, that's the other cool thing about drawing and quick drawing and just drawing on the spot is all the places I've traveled all over the world and the people I've met and drawn. It's like you remember that moment viscerally in a way that you wouldn't with just snapping a photograph. Like especially now with our cell phones, you can just, it's so like throwaway. You take like thousands of photos and then never look at them again, or try and capture some moment, but often you don't really retain it or remember it in a way that you would if you sit and draw. It connects you viscerally to the experience. Mm-hmm. It's like your own identity and ego dissolve, and you're just purely connected, purely focused and concentrated on that present moment. And so it's kind of a spiritual experience too. It puts you in a meditative state.
Yeah, I think the first time I realized what you were doing was in Chicago. About 15 years ago, you and Tony came to Chicago Sofa, and we hung out all night, you know.
That was really fun.
Yeah, it was a fun night. But Erin had her little drawing book, and I think all of us were recorded in there a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's how she rolls. She's connected to the moment. And these nudes are very beautiful. Most of them are on a darker paper. What type of paper is that?
Yeah, I love using brown paper. Mm-hmm. Some of them are, being a recycled artist, I like to try and recycle when I can and use, so some of them are on like a manila envelope or some envelope, the inside of an envelope, like blue paper or something, and some are on just like brown scrap paper. Others are on nice brown paper that I buy at the art store.
Yeah, and
it's all pretty archival because I do like use a fixative even for, for all of them, no matter what it's drawn on.
So is it mostly like charcoals that you're using, or charcoal sticks, or what are you doing for the drawings?
Markers. I love Sharpie markers and just markers and this thing called China markers that are kind of like, they're the kind you peel back with a string, and they're like,
is it kind of like a waxy?
Softer than a colored pencil, but harder than a pastel. Yeah, it's like waxy that they would use in an office.
Right.
Or an office supply store.
Well, whatever you're using, they translate really beautifully, and so.
Oh, thanks.
Anyways, we appreciate you doing this show, and every now and then it's not just line drawings. You're adding a little bit of hints of color and.
Yeah, sometimes I'll even go back with a little gouache on some of them.
Yeah. I'd like to thank Erin for coming in today and talking about her show, Sin Ropa. Again, it opens on February 14th, Valentine's Day. Might make a special treat for one of your loved ones. It's a good time to collect an Erin Currier. These are priced very affordably, but they're very beautiful masterpieces. Like to encourage everybody to sign up for our podcasts. You can go to our website under the menu bar under podcasts, or to iTunes or any platform you get podcasts. I'd like to encourage everybody to visit our online store, bluerainprintshop.com, by taking art into your everyday life. Thank you. Thank you, Erin.
Oh, thank you.